This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only and utilizes artificial intelligence, AI. The information provided may not always be accurate. For important decisions, consult experts or professionals.
Today, we're asking a tough one. Does a person have a moral duty to risk their life to save a stranger when the chance of success is only 50%? I'm joined by our guest to unpack that. Over to you.
Thanks. Glad to be here. That's a heavy but important question, and I'll try to walk through it carefully and plainly. I'll give some moral frameworks, some practical considerations, and a few rules of thumb you can use if you ever find yourself in that impossible split-second decision. Start with the picture. Imagine you see someone drowning or trapped in a burning car. You estimate your chance of rescuing them alive is about 50%. And you also estimate there's a substantial risk to your own life. What should you do? Is it morally required to try? Short answer, usually no. It isn't an absolute moral duty for an ordinary bystander to risk their life with only a 50% chance of success. But, and it's a big but, in many cases it is morally praiseworthy and sometimes very strongly encouraged. The right course depends on several factors: your role, your competence, who depends on you, other options available, and how you weigh risks and outcomes. Let me break that down using 3 major moral perspectives people often use. 1. Consequentialism, or utilitarian reasoning. This approach asks, which action leads to the best overall outcome? If your attempting the rescue has a 50% chance of saving the stranger and a 50% chance of you dying, the expected lives saved is 0.5, half a life, and the expected lives lost could be 0.5 if you die. If you have dependents, children, elderly parents, your death could produce more harm than the life you might save. So from this perspective, risking your life for a stranger with only a 50% chance could be irrational if your own life's loss causes greater net harm. Consequentialist reasoning therefore tends to deny a strict duty in many realistic cases, especially where your death would cause cascading harms to others. 2. Deontological, duty-based reasoning. Here, people focus on moral rules and obligations. Do you have a moral rule that says, always preserve life even at great personal cost? Most people don't accept such an absolute rule for ordinary citizens. We do commonly accept role-based duties. If you're a lifeguard, a doctor on duty, a firefighter, your professional oath may make risking your life more of an obligation. So deontology can create a duty for people with specific roles, but is less likely to make that same duty apply to a random passerby. 3. Virtue ethics, character and courage. This view asks what a virtuous person, courageous, compassionate, prudent, would do. Courage isn't about reckless rashness. It's about facing danger for a good reason, but also exercising judgment. Virtue ethics might call the rescue heroic and admirable, but it doesn't necessarily frame heroism as a moral obligation for everyone at all times. It celebrates bravery while recognizing prudence matters. So those are the big picture frameworks. Now let's move to the practical, everyday way to think about this. Key factors that change the moral calculus. Your relationship and responsibilities. If you have children who depend on you, or elderly parents, your life carries obligations that count morally. Risking your life for a stranger might be less obligatory if your death would leave dependents unprotected. Your competence and training. If you're trained, a lifeguard, EMT, or firefighter, your chance of success likely isn't just a random 50%, and you have a professional obligation. If you're untrained, your attempt might do more harm than good to both of you. Control and options. Can you call for help? Throw a rope? Use a life jacket? Is there wave rescue equipment or clear help coming? If you can take lower-risk actions that increase the chance of success, call emergency services, get others to help, those are usually morally preferable and expected. Certainty of the 50% estimate. Human probability estimates under stress are often biased, If 50% is a rough gut feeling, try to buy time to get better information. The morally right thing often depends on better info. Consequences beyond the immediate life or death. Will your death lead to others' suffering? Will failing to act allow a pattern of callousness? These downstream matters are part of the calculation. Social roles and the expectations of the community. Society often expects certain people to act: police, medics, rescue teams. That shapes who has a duty. Putting this into practical guidance, a short decision procedure. If you read the listener and you want an approach you could actually use in a scary, real moment, here are quick steps. 1. Assess immediate risk and your own competence. If you are trained and the risk is within what you've practiced, help, because you're likeliest to succeed without unnecessary self-harm. If you're untrained and the rescue would likely kill you, think twice. 2. Look for safer alternatives first. Can you call emergency services? Get a flotation device, rope, or a bystander to assist. Often you can materially increase the chance of success without risking your life. 3. Consider dependent obligations. If your death would severely harm others who depend on you, you're not morally blameworthy for refusing extreme personal risk to save a stranger. 4. If you choose to act, use prudence. Don't be reckless. Try to minimize risk. Heroism guided by wisdom is the ideal. 5. After the fact, bear the moral weight. If you tried and failed, you acted from compassion. If you didn't act because it was disproportionately risky, explain your reasons honestly to yourself and others. Special cases where a duty is stronger. Professional rescuers. If you're a professional, the moral and often legal duty to act is stronger. If refusing would lead to systematic injustice, e.g., letting people die because they're members of a marginalized group, collective moral duties can arise. If your attempt has high expected benefit with low additional cost, for instance, if you can try something that's low risk to you but might save them, you're morally expected to do it. Is risking yourself ever required at 50%? Sometimes. If you are the only person who can save many lives, imagine a single person who can stop a catastrophe with 50% chance. The moral duty becomes stronger. But in ordinary two-person scenarios, it often remains supererogatory, praiseworthy, but not strictly required. A few real-world thoughts. Society often celebrates rescue heroes precisely because they go beyond duty. That tells us our moral intuitions separate what's required from what's admirable. Many legal systems don't require bystanders to put themselves at grave risk. That legal baseline reflects a moral intuition about reasonable limits. There is no absolute moral rule that says you must risk your life to save a stranger when the chance is only 50%. It's often supererogatory, heroic, and praiseworthy, but not strictly obligatory for ordinary people. The right choice depends on your role, your competence, your responsibilities to others, the availability of safer alternatives, and how you weigh harms and benefits. When possible, get training, carry basic rescue knowledge, and be ready to help in ways that minimize risk, because being prepared raises the moral case for acting. Final practical nudge. If you want to be someone who can reasonably help, consider first aid and water rescue training. That shifts the whole calculation in future emergencies from, maybe I should try to, I know what I can do safely.
That was really clear, thanks. Any last thought?
Just this. Moral life is full of hard choices. When you see someone in danger, do what you can without being reckless. Know your reasons, and remember, there's a difference between duty and heroism, and both have their place. Thanks for the question.